Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the City of Gloucester Licensing Board special meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. The time is 6:39 p.m. We are starting a few minutes late, and I apologize for that. This is a remote meeting on Zoom. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with state open meeting law, pursuant to Chapter 20, Section 20 of the Acts of 2021. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Gloucester Licensing Board during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in by phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or device, there is a raised hand button that you can push, tap, or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak. So we will start off with introductions. I'll start. My name is Melissa Prince. I am a member to this committee. John O, why don't you go next?
I'm John Orlando. I'm also a member of the licensing board.
John Lemerand, member of the license board also.
Thank you. And we also have Allison Battle, who is our licensing board clerk, joining us as well. Public comment. Is there any public comment to come before the board tonight? Please press *9 or raise your hand to request to speak.
Meredith, Attorney Fine, raise your hand.
Would you like me to bring her in?
Yes, please.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
Meredith Fine, an attorney at 108 East Main Street, Gloucester.
I'm hearing you a little bit like you're in a tunnel. Does anyone else hear that, or is it my?
I hear the same.
Okay.
I don't know what to do about that.
Maybe just move around a little bit. Are you on a cell phone?
No, I'm on my home computer. Let me try one thing.
Is there a fan or anything running?
No.
Well, we can hear you. It just sounds a little funky, but I can still understand what you're saying.
Okay, I apologize.
That's okay.
Hopefully I won't take up too much of your time. And thank you for letting me speak. I'm calling on behalf of Rocky Necklace LLC, doing business as the Rudder. I wanted to give you all an update of where we are, and then I ask for the board's help. We're trying hard to get open by Memorial Day. The ABCC license was submitted to the commission today. The investigator had some questions. We went back and forth. You all know how that works. On the local licenses, first of all, I want to thank Allison. I know I've been pestering her, and I appreciate all of her patience and her help. We haven't been able to schedule the inspectors yet for the common victualler license. We've had some code issues at the building that need to be finished. So that work should be done Thursday, and then hopefully we'll be able to schedule the inspectors early next week. I'm going to throw myself on the mercy of the court here and ask if there's any chance of scheduling a very quick special meeting for this common vic before the end of the month.
So, Meredith, just so you understand, we have scheduled this meeting tonight, and this meeting was difficult to schedule. It was going to be later in the week, and we had to change it, and then it was going to be next week, and we had to change it. And then I'm on vacation going away, and there's others going on vacation. So scheduling right now is next to impossible, unfortunately. And I say that wholeheartedly because we're even trying to discuss the issuance of the new license and what that schedule will look like around everyone's vacations and holidays and things like that. So All I can say right now is I cannot give you any answer to that tonight. I know that the licensing board wants to see all matters cleared up before we approve anything, whether it be a common vic license or an entertainment license. I know there's some zoning issues going down on Rocky Neck. I don't know if that has anything to do with your business. I know zoning board is talking about a couple matters down there as well. So I cannot give you an answer tonight right now, but I appreciate you approaching the board tonight, and we can discuss this offline if there is a possibility, but I just can't guarantee anything right now. We do have, our policy and procedures are that we meet once a month, and this board has been actively meeting a lot more than that, but it's getting to the point where it's difficult. And we're trying to get back to our regular schedule because there's a lot of dates that are important to this board for filings and postings and for open meeting law and notifications for the newspaper. So we're in a position where it's getting difficult to address everyone's special accommodations. But with that being said, I'm not saying no. I just can't have that conversation. I'll make any promises right now, but I can talk to the board members offline and see if there's anything available. But at the same time, I'd want to know what steps need to be done on your end as well, because this is going to be the last meeting regarding this studio. In other words, we're not going to approve anything subject to anything. You would have to have everything completed, everything to Allison on time. So that's a bigger conversation to have offline.
Let me just
I
say,
hope that helps. But I understand the importance of getting open down in Rocky Neck for the holidays. And it's usually been a Mother's Day opening down there. And I know that got pushed off a little later this year. So we try to accommodate our businesses the best we can. I just can't give you an answer if we can have another special meeting again this month.
let me just say, Madam Chair, I totally get what you're saying. I didn't especially want to have to ask. There's no zoning issue that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The rudder. I know there's a zoning issue on another property, but not on the rudder.
Okay.
We had a lot of trouble dealing with the licensing portal. And ultimately, the manager of the license ended up just coming down to the annex and working directly with Allison.
Mm-hmm.
That was only one issue, but the other issue has been just getting the building in shape. The building hasn't been used in quite a long time. And every time somebody turned around, there was another problem. So there have been a lot of moving pieces to this common vic license that were not predictable.
Yep.
But that said, whatever the board can do would just be so appreciated by the applicant.
Okay. I will have Allison reach out to you. I just need to check into a couple of things. So thank you very much.
Great vacation.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board during oral communications or public comment? You can raise your hand or press *9. I see Michelle Kelleher. Allison, can you promote Michelle Kelleher, please?
Sure.
Hello?
Hi, can you state your name and
Hi,
address? For the record.
Michelle Kelleher, 26 Westmoreland Avenue, Long Meadow, Mass. I wasn't familiar with the format. I just wanted to let you know that we are here and my daughter-in-law is also on the call. Her name is Chuang Tran.
Yep, we will call that matter. It's later on the agenda.
Okay,
Thank you very
all right,
much.
All right.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board during public comment? Please raise your hand or press *9. I don't see any, so we'll move on to our first matter of business. Common victual license, Atlantis Oceanfront Inn, 125 Atlantic Road. Is there anyone here to represent Atlantis Oceanfront?
Madam Chair, she wasn't able to be here tonight.
Okay. But her application is in our system. All documents have been received.
Correct.
John, do you have any questions?
No.
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. With that being said, because everything is in order, all paperwork has been provided, and this is a renewal, I move that we approve a common victual license for Atlantis Oceanfront Inn, 125 Atlantic Road, Gloucester, Mass. there
And
a
I'll
second?
second, I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Allison, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Lammeron,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes,
Ms. Prince.
Yes. Thank you. That vote is unanimous and that license can issue. Next order of business is the Studio LLC, the Studio 51 Rocky Neck Ave for an entertainment license. And who do we have joining us tonight?
Michael Ford,
Let's allow Michael to talk. Michael, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Hold on. Michael Ford here, Ford Law PC, 245 Sumner Street, Boston, Massachusetts. Hold on, start the video here. I also have with me Stephen Whalen, owner and manager of record, as well as Neil Maver, the operations consultant, who's going to be assisting us with sound and noise.
I'm sorry, can you say Neil's last name again, please?
Maver, M-A-V-E-R.
Thank you. I thought you said a neighbor.
Oh.
Wanted to make sure I had
My
that. correct.
apologies.
No, that's okay. It's probably my end. I'm in the woods over here. Thank you very much. So we had heard from you before for your common victular, I believe. And
Yes,
you're
and
coming-
I think you have that. I don't want to be redundant, given the schedule and whatnot. Our license, we have the inspections. We're ready to go and excited to be operational. The entertainment license has been a little bit of a moving target as we try to sort of narrow it as much as possible so we can fit in with the neighborhood. So I'll just go into the entertainment license here. Just by way of background, Fred Starkoff and Steve Whalen, their company manages and operates several locations that is successfully operated. And I'll go into that a little bit in the entertainment. The proposed is this, and I'll break it down like this: non-live for inside and out. That's the background music and the like. On the outside, the only other thing that we would potentially want to do, but it's not even a definite at this time, would be straight solo acoustic performance, and that's it. So we're trying to narrow it so that there isn't as much of effect as we get going here on the outside. The live music inside, the more major component would be the amplified music, would be vocalists and backup seeking to do 3, acoustic instrumentalists inside, as well as the DJ, karaoke, dancing by patrons, trivia and the like. The hours that we're seeking, and in sort of speaking with others, seeing what's worked down there, given the fact that the live, the main component of the live would be inside only, would be seeking Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 10 p.m., which was a popular time that we heard. We would ask for Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 11 p.m., given the fact that it's going to be inside. And I want to tell you a little bit about the sound and noise control components. Obviously, closed doors, closed windows, monitored by all management and staff. And this new sound system that they put in, it's pretty amazing. It has an app and a unusual remote feature. So even if you're not on the premises, you're monitoring everything that's going on from the levels. So what's beautiful about this is you can actually take calls, and I'll go into about the availability of management cell phones. You can take calls and you can change it. You could be speaking to management on the premises in real time. Obviously, there'll be the continued, you have to have, it's just what they use at their other locations. You have to do the walk around monitoring. There's really no, alternative that's better than that. I did mention Neil Maver, who's with us. He is, he's not just part of the fabric of the neighborhood. He lives across the street, and he's going to be the operations consultant, has experience. And we wanted, from an ownership and management standpoint, to be able to have somebody like that, and somebody with his skill to be able to, be there essentially all the time, 7 days a week, no matter what. We would have continued involvement with the abutters, cell phones of the managers, to go out to all abutters. So that way, if there's any issues, there's no call here, call there, and a daisy chain of calls. You'd go right to the person in charge. And I know in talking with Steve, he very much wants to make sure he continues to have have an open dialogue with anybody who's around, suggestions, concerns, and make those changes. And with that, just put it forward to you. This is a responsible operator. This is an operator that's experienced, both in Boston, outside of Boston. No noise, I will say with all of that, no noise violations at any of its premises. I think there was one where there was a call and there was no violation. So they run a tight ship. And with that, we ask that you grant the petition.
Thank you, Attorney Ford. John or John, any questions?
I don't have any questions. That sounds pretty thorough.
I think the only question I have you had conversations with the neighbors since our last meeting, just to kind of work through any concerns that they might have had?
I'm just checking here. I know that there was a communication with Michael Faherty here. I didn't handle any of the contacts. I know that my associate Ryan, who's out with me, was handling any of that. I could defer to Steve Whalen to see if he's had any direct communications since the last meeting.
Thank you, that would be helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
I think he's on. Doesn't seem to be. I think he got thrown off here.
Here we go.
Ken-
I'm
Here he
Here he
is.
is.
Hi,
Hi, guys.
Steve. State
hi,
your name and address for the record, please.
Steve Whalen, 95 Welland Road, Brookline, Mass.
Thank you.
And this question is better fielded by Neil. He's been down, he lives in the neighborhood, so he's been talking to neighbors consistently. So, I'm going to defer to Neil. Sorry to pass the ball, but
That's okay.
he's right there.
Okay, Neil, state your name and address for the record before you speak, please.
Neil Maver, 54 Rocky Neck Ave.
Thank you.
I have not spoken to Michael at all, but I have spoken to a lot of the neighbors in the neighborhood, and everyone seems excited, waiting for us to open. And I think the hours that Michael presented make sense for the neighborhood.
Okay, so you are okay with 11 o'clock Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
Yeah, and I live actually right across the street, so I don't want to go too late as well. But I think, working with Steve, I think he knows what he's doing and seems good.
Okay, thank you. John Lammeron, any other questions?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So I just have a few comments. First, Attorney Ford and all those involved, thank you very much. This is probably one of the most thorough entertainment license conversations we've had in a while, to have all this work done prior to coming to the board instead of us saying, go do it. So I really appreciate that. And I can't tell you enough or praise you enough for how much appreciation I have for working with the neighbors, because there's no doubt that there are a lot of great happenings going on down at Rocky Neck, and the success of Rocky Neck is the neighbors as well. They love that area, but at the same time, they like their quiet time when it's time to have quiet time, so finding that combination of what works for everybody is the success of Rocky Neck. And I see great things come in the summer, and I'm glad that this collaboration is happening, because that to me shows that it's going to work. I also have a history. I think I've worked at the studio and worked at the Rudder in my past, and I know entertainment has gone later than that in the past. But I also know that that brought problems. There was a time when I believe the building inspector was bringing out decimal readings to measure sound and things like that when the windows were open. So it pleases me to hear that you're going to have your windows closed, but I can't help but ask the question, are you going to have air conditioning with the windows closed? Because it can get pretty hot inside without the windows open down there. And that I know from experience. So is there a new air system in there that will allow you to keep the windows closed in the summer? Or can you tell me how that would work?
Steve, do you want to field this one?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have an AC system that we were able to refurbish the existing system, so it's working in working order.
Great. Okay. And was this open last year? Can't remember.
Yes.
And you were doing the entertainment last year? Or
We
was
didn't.
COVID?
We didn't own it last year. Dennis Dyer owned it last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe he was doing entertainment. Neil, do you have any color on that?
Yeah, they were doing live music Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay. That's helpful to know, and also to report that we never received any complaints for that as well. So that's very helpful to me. I can tell you I am in support of this application. I'm happy, as I said, happy to hear that the neighbors are involved and that you have that collaboration with them with the phone system, and the app control is so modern. I don't know of any business that has that yet. So we welcome those types of technology that can immediately respond to situations. So I don't have any more questions. So I guess at this time, I think, are we ready to make a motion? John and John, are you okay? Or do you have any more questions for any of the parties speaking to this application?
No,
No,
I'm fine, I'm
I'm
ready.
good.
So we're gonna do two separate motions. One is gonna be for the Monday through Saturday, and then one will be for a Sunday, because they're two separate licenses. So I will make a motion that we approve an entertainment license for the Studio LLC. The studio, is it 51 Rocky Neck Ave? Is that the correct address?
Yes, that's correct.
51 Rocky Neck Ave, with the hours of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. From, what was the start time?
11.
11 a.m.? 11
That's what's on the
a.m.
application.
Okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at it. I was looking at my notes. 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. And I so move.
I'll second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve those times for an entertainment license. Is there any further discussion? Allison, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Miss Prince?
Yes,
That's not my order.
that's okay. John was
Mr.
next,
Ryan.
but that's okay.
Mr. Orlando?
Yes,
Okay, and that vote passes unanimously, and the next vote is to approve a Sunday entertainment license for the Studio LLC, the Studio 51 Rocky Neck Ave in Gloucester on Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Is there
I'll
a second?
second. Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'm just going to ask that we put into the record on this vote that no one has appeared from the neighborhood tonight. There's been no one approached us in opposition of this license. With that being said, Allison, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Miss Prince?
Yes,
Mr. Orlando?
yes.
great. That motion passes as well. So an
Okay.
entertainment license will be issued. When are you opening?
So unfortunately we're not gonna hit Memorial Day, but we're targeting June 2nd.
Okay.
We got to get all our ducks in a row, get everybody trained. So that's our target.
How you doing with staff, getting staff?
We need, Neil can go more into this, but I think more back of the house staff is what we need. Front of the house, we're pretty good because everybody knows that they'll make a ton in tips, but
Yeah.
we still need some people in the kitchen.
Yeah. That seems to be a popular advertisement
Yeah,
throughout town right now.
but we're feeling very positive about it. I mean, we're, through word of mouth, people are gravitating to us, so
Excellent.
we'll be open.
Good news. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for us before you leave?
I'm good. Mike or Neil, do you guys have any?
I don't have any now. We just thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Floyd, for your work. It's good to have good representation. Very thorough. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Next order of business is an entertainment license for Castaways Vintage Cafe LLC, 65 Main Street. And who is here tonight?
I see a Paul Gigalone, I
Yes.
believe, here.
Yep, can you promote, please? I see Paul G. Can you unmute and state your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, Paul Giacoloni, 71 Main Street, Gloucester.
Thank you. How are you tonight?
Very good.
Good. So tell me about what types of entertainment you plan to have down at Castaway.
Same thing we've done for the last 2 years, the last 3 years, actually, just acoustic music and, one or two people playing Jimmy Buffett style music.
That sounds fun.
Worked out great in the past.
And what are the hours that you want to do? Is this indoors, outdoors, or both?
Well, you can do both, but we typically only have music outdoors in the patios right now because we're closed. We're only seasonal. But it wouldn't be okay to have the license there. And secondly, we have on the application from 12 p.m. Melissa, just wonder if we could make that 11 a.m. because we're having a little bit of conflict with some of the musicians because Gloucester House and some of the other people do 3 to 5. So if we go 12 to 3, they don't have time to do both gigs. So
Okay.
we would just like to go 11 to 2. But we want it from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Same as we had.
I'm sure the application does have 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, and you want outdoors, and you said why? What was the reason for just outdoors?
No, I said indoors is fine also in case we decide to open this winter again. Since the last few years, we've only been seasonal because of the pandemic. But if it's cold out, we would like to maybe have some acoustic music indoors this winter.
Got it. Okay. And we've had no complaints with the music that you played in the past, right?
Of entertainment in this area anyway, a lot of background noise besides us, so by 9 o'clock, we're pretty much out of it.
So you're looking 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
I think we just lost him.
I think we did too.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
John, that's what's on the application, right?
Correct. Yep.
What days?
Monday through Sunday.
Yeah, 7 days.
There he is.
Thank you, Paul. Any other questions?
I have none.
Don't bother me just watching a meeting.
I'm looking at John Orlando's face.
I have none. Sorry.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve an entertainment license Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. for Castaways Vintage Cafe LLC located at 65 Main Street, Gloucester, Mass.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Orlando? No, wait a minute.
Yes.
Mr. Lamrion?
Yes.
Mr. Orlando?
Now I'm gonna vote no. No, yes.
Ms. Prince? I
Yes.
am that today. Sheesh.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve a Sunday entertainment license from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. for Castaways Vintage Cafe LLC located at 65 Main Street, Gloucester, Mass.
And I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? Roll
No.
call vote, please.
Mr. Lammerin,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. So that vote passes. That entertainment license is issued. You are good to go. Paul, do you have any questions for us before you leave tonight?
Oh, just thank you for all your work, and I know it gets hectic this time of year, so thanks a lot for helping us out.
Yep. Best of luck this summer. It's going to be a good
Thank
one.
you. See you guys around.
Bye-bye. Next order of business is special one-day liquor license. Jim Kelleher is requesting to serve all alcohol beverage at the pier at Gloucester Maritime Heritage Center, 23 Harbor Loop. Let's see who is here. Michelle Kelleher. Michelle, are you here to speak to this?
And Ms.
Um,
Tran's also
I
waiting.
am. Miss Tran is here and my husband Jim is here.
Okay. I'm not seeing all that. All right, Ms. Tran, do we want to promote? Are you the only one speaking, or is anyone else going to speak on behalf of this?
Miss Tran is going to speak.
Okay. Ms. Tran, if you could unmute and state your name and address for the record.
You're still muted.
Oh, hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, yes, we can.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. So we are requesting that one-day license at Maritime, like you said, for next.
Can we get a name and address, please?
Oh, yes, sorry about that. My name is Tuong Tran, and I'm at 5 Pelican Road in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so we spoke a lot to this at the last meeting, but there was just some work to get done. First of all, congratulations, I think. Is it for you? Is this event for you?
Yes, it's for me, and
Congratulations.
I'm so excited. So, yeah, I can't wait.
Okay. So we have to do a lot of inquiry for these type of licenses, especially when they're not held at function halls. So that is part of the issue with this, and that's why we're just trying to make sure
Okay.
everything is up to par for this event.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
I just want to quickly say that it'll only be beer and wine and not all alcohol.
Yeah, I believe that's all you are eligible to have according to the statute.
Okay.
And their
Um,
application has that too, Madam Chair.
Yeah. So tell me about, I know we were saying before, you're having about 75 people
Correct.
and just one bartender?
Yes.
And that bartender is tip certified, right? We received that information?
Yes. Yep. She is tip certified. We submitted it.
Yep.
I think Allison should have it. And we also have 2 liquor liability insurance licenses, one for the bartender, and then also Jim and Michelle also have their own.
Okay, great. I saw that was submitted as well. And I saw an email verification about requesting the police detail.
Correct. Yep. Right after that meeting that you had with Michelle last time, she immediately called the I think it was Sheriff Fitzgerald, Joseph
Yep.
Fitzgerald, and he said that he would put her next in line and try to get her security for our event that night.
Great. And you changed the cappies to the Everett wholesaler, correct?
Correct. Yep. That's all
Okay.
set.
And you understand that once you purchase the alcohol, it'll be in a locked storage, and when they come pick it up, they'll give you a receipt, and then you submit that receipt to our clerk, Allison Battle,
Yes.
within 7 days of the event.
Yep.
Okay, I'm trying to remember if there was any other outstanding matters. John, do you remember or have any questions for this application?
I think it was
No,
just
I
a
think-
floor plan, the
You're right.
floor layout, but that was included in the additional
Yeah.
documents
That's
for
here,
us to review,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, it was on the back of, it was submitted with the email.
Right.
So we have the floor plan. So I think we have everything I need.
We do.
So know that part of the reason why you need a one-day alcohol license is because, first of all, the place you're having, the location of your event has not been defined as a function hall. And also, when you bring alcohol, even if it's not for sale, the transport of alcohol requires a license.
Okay,
So that's part of the reasoning for all these questions.
all right.
Not trying to make your day difficult, just trying to make sure that everything is up to par and approved by all the departments in Gloucester that need to check off on it.
Okay, I appreciate that clarification.
It's nothing more than that. Believe me, we want you to have lots of happiness on your day and know that you will.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to let you know that we're very responsible people. We're not looking to have some crazy big party, it's just to get together, and we have out of town guests coming in, and a lot, or even if they are around the area, they're traveling far. So we just wanted like kind of a pre-event, and that's what it is.
Yep, and you have a beautiful location down there, so
Thank
Gonna
you so
be
much. I know.
great night.
I hope the weather stays like this. It's been really nice. So
It's true.
Yep, fingers crossed for that. So are there any other questions from the board?
I have none.
Allison, everything in order on our end?
As far as I can see.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve a special one-day liquor license to Jim Kelleher, who's requesting to serve all alcohol beverages at the pier at Gloucester Maritime Heritage Center, 23 Gloucester, Harbor Loop, not Gloucester Harbor Loop, just 23 Harbor Loop. I just want to check one thing about the all alcohol. You're suggesting that you have beer and wine, right? That's your request?
yes.
Okay. So we'll just put that on. It's even though it says all alcohol, we'll have beer and wine at the pier. So there's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion?
No.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lammerow,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. Congratulations, you are good to go.
And
Thank
good
you
luck.
so much. I appreciate
luck.
it.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
much. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you. If you can
Take
speak in a
care.
picture when you drop off the receipt, that will be much
Oh,
appreciated.
I will definitely do that.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Have a great event. Wishing
Thank
you
you.
lots of happiness.
Take care.
Appreciate that. Have a nice one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next order of business is a special one-day liquor license for Alicia Pensarosa is requesting to serve wine and malt beverages at Ocean Alliance, Inc., 32 Horton Street. And who is here?
Bring Alicia in.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Hi, it's Alicia Pensarosa, 38 Derby Street, Gloucester.
Hey, Alicia.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us tonight. So is this your event? I'm just trying to figure out the parties here.
No, I'm the assistant director at Ocean Alliance, and the event is for two people having a private wedding.
Okay, I'm just wondering why they're not applying for the license.
They were told that I needed to apply for it when they inquired about it.
Okay.
Isn't this similar to the last one?
Yes. So does that mean you're going to be at the event and
Yes.
managing the event?
Yep, I'll be there, and they will also have a wedding planner in attendance.
Okay. Okay, so this is a first for Ocean Alliance.
Yes.
And I just want to put this conversation out there that you as well are not a function hall, and that's why we're applying for a special one-day license. I've had conversations with the city about the status of your establishment as well as other establishments, not just yours. And I know this year, the city is being pretty flexible about allowing these types of events. So I just wanted to put it out to John and John that conversation has been had by the city, and the inspectors are signing off before they come to us, which means they're given the approval. So it's not on us to determine the capability of having an event where the event is being requested. So it's my understanding the city inspector, the fire department, the police department, and all the other departments have signed off on this?
Yes, that's correct.
Great. Let me ask you this. Are you planning on having more events like this summer?
Not weddings, but as part of like the Rocky Neck Cultural District, we might have other things like this, maybe serving.
fundraisers?
Yeah. So we already have a few art exhibits planned, and we have the Cape Ann Makers Market, which is a fundraiser for us.
And you're going to be requesting alcohol for all these events?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. There maybe a one-off night or something, but probably not.
Okay. Because I mean, there's lots of safety concerns that we're usually required to ask about. And I know I drove down to the paint factory last night just to get a good understanding of the changes down there, because I haven't been down there in many, many years. And I can tell you, it looks great down there. So just trying to understand how functions can be held down there and any neighbor concerns and things like that. So that's why I'm asking about the future as well as this application before us tonight, because I don't know that all that's been vetted.
Yeah,
but
I also
understand. Go ahead.
I also submitted an entertainment license because I didn't know we had to have one. And since we do have events planned, music, and we have our own whale acoustics and things that we'd like to play for the public. So I know I did that on the online system.
Is that on the agenda tonight?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I don't see that on the agenda tonight.
It is not on the agenda, Madam Chair, because it was held up with the health department due to their tight tank not being done.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one informed me of that. So Allison,
Okay.
can you let me?
The health department put it through the system, the application system. There's a note in there for you.
Okay, I didn't see that.
So tonight's conversation is just about this wedding.
Yeah.
And like I said, to be honest with you, when I first heard about this, I was very hesitant. That's why I reached out to talk to other departments to make sure that we're all on board, because you're not a function facility and I'm not aware of too many events that have happened down there yet. Although I welcome you to have as many events that you'd like to have, because it's a great location. And I know your intentions with that building is really good for Gloucester. So for the wedding, how many people do you plan on having?
67.
And what is the capacity down there? What does the fire department tell you as far as the capacity limit?
So we will be outside. We won't be indoors. And then so I know the first floor of the building is 100 people.
Okay. Are you putting up a tent for weather or?
Yeah, they're going to put up a tent.
Okay. And who is serving the alcohol?
So I submitted the tips card. So hold on, I don't have her name in front of me.
You have 2 bartenders or 1?
One,
It's Elvira.
Elvira, yep. And-
Solovic.
Yep, and she's part of Hostess Catering, which will be catering the food.
And where is the liquor coming from?
Morrissey Boulevard Wholesalers.
And tell me what the plan is for delivery and pickup.
So they'll be delivering Thursday afternoon before the wedding. And we'll be keeping it in our locked offices. So only Ocean Alliance employees will have access until the day of the wedding when they're setting up. And then they are going to pick up the remainder on Sunday morning.
So when you say employees have access, talk to me about that, because it's supposed to be a locked room where no one has access.
Okay. I mean, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that would be the expectation, for it to be locked up so that only that person that has the key has access.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. And what is the security down there? Like, who is going to be watching? And checking to make sure that no one's served underage and everyone's acting appropriately. Tell me about how that's going to work down there.
Okay. So I will be in attendance, so I can keep out anyone who's not a guest of the wedding.
Okay.
And there also will be, in addition to myself, the wedding planner will be on site, making sure everything's run appropriately. And I've already talked with the catering company about serving hours and stopping a half hour before it ends. So I think we're in good shape there.
And on the guest list, is there anyone under 21 invited?
No.
No one. So everyone that's on the
Yeah.
guest list is over 21, and no one except for guests are going to be in, have access?
Yes,
Okay, great.
it's an older couple.
John, do you have any questions?
Is there, I don't see the liquor liability policy.
I have
Is
it right here.
You have it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good.
And I think I checked. I'm just gonna make sure it says liquor on it.
It did,
does.
yes.
Yeah, it does. 1 million liquor. Yep.
Okay, great.
Allison, can you assure us that we have all the documents on file that are required for this?
I do believe so. We have the site plan, right? That was the last thing I think I was waiting for. Yes.
Excellent.
The only thing that we don't have is their entertainment, but the health department did say they would be okay to let them have the entertainment for this one event, but not after this until they deal with their issues with them.
No, to be honest with you, I agree with that because I just think because of the location and the lack of history of having events there, I think that's appropriate for this event. So the city's aware that there'll be music played down there. Are they having live music, do you know, or just stream music?
A DJ.
A DJ?
So I have a question on that. I mean, I haven't read the comments from the health department, but so are they saying that we need to replace our tight tank before we have any community events?
I would speak with them. I know that this has been in discussion for several years with them. I think they said back since 2014, this has been a discussion ongoing, so they want to get it all cleared up. And that's all I know.
Okay. Because that's a really big project for us, so.
Mhm.
So okay, I'll talk to the health department, but does that, if the health department says no, that means we can't have like any acoustic music, or we can't even play our own music inside the buildings?
So I think that's a conversation to have offline outside of this application.
Okay,
So I would reach out to the health department, talk to them. And going forward, I'm not quite sure of what your practices are down there with the sounds and things like that. I'm not sure if it qualifies as entertainment or not. So that's another discussion for another day.
okay,
And we can find that out as we move along through your requests for entertainment licenses and other functions as well. But tonight, let's just focus on this wedding because we want to be assured that this wedding can happen. Because when is it scheduled for? It's soon, isn't it?
yeah, June
June.
4th.
June 4th, and we're not meeting again before then, most likely. So it seems like we have everything in order. And Allison, can you just tell me, I'm looking at the history of this, but are all the signs, is everything signed off on?
On the application?
Yeah, the one day.
Yeah, I mean, there's all signatures on it from
Okay.
all the,
Yeah.
I just didn't find it. I'm in the system, but I didn't find that particular document, so I just wanted to make sure. So
Yeah,
all the
that's-
permits have signed off for this one event, so that's the focus of our discussion only tonight, is just this one event. Of what future events hold is, could be a different conversation, and we'll get there if we have to at another date. So do we have any other questions?
No.
Great. I am going to make a motion to approve a special one-day liquor license to Alicia Pensarosa, and I apologize if I say your name incorrectly,
Nope, perfect.
to serve wine and malt beverages at Ocean Alliance, Inc., 32 Horton Street on June 4th. And what were the hours?
4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And you're going to stop serving at 9 p.m. or stop serving at 8:30?
Stop serving at 8:30.
8:30, so it'll be till 8:30 p.m. Is there a second to that motion?
I second the motion.
Discussion. I have another question. Where are people parking? I'm curious to know the logistics of this in case we hear from any neighbors.
Yeah, so they have rented the Gloucester Water Shuttle.
Okay.
So attendees are going to park downtown and then take the shuttle over. And then, so the only people that will be parking on site will be myself and then like catering, cake people, you know, those types of vendors. And then even the grooms are not parking. They are rented an Airbnb down the street. So they're going to be walking.
Okay. Does the water shuttle allow alcohol service? Do you know? We don't monitor that because it's on the harbor.
I haven't, to be honest, I haven't taken it in years, but when I did take it years ago, they did offer alcohol. So I don't know
Okay.
what their current policy is.
So I just want to be really clear with this. So the license is for your property.
Yes.
Absolutely no alcohol to be taken off property and going on to the water shuttle if they allow alcohol. In other words, the
Yep.
alcohol from the water shuttle would have to be separate from any alcohol that is on your property.
Okay, understood.
Okay, so just make sure your attendees know that even if the water shuttle allows drinks on there, which I do believe they do, you cannot bring your alcohol onto their boat. That would be a violation of Mass General laws.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for us?
Nope, that's all.
Okay, Allison, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Lamron,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. Great, so that license shall issue. So just
Thank you very
refer to
much.
Allison. So you're gonna have to have that posted at the wedding. I forgot to tell the last couple of that. So just make sure that it's there in case there's any response by police or fire, they see that license is readily available near where the bartender is serving.
Okay, will do.
Okay, thank you so much and good luck. Have fun.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Bye.
Okay. So I'm going to ask that we take a 5-minute break. We can blank out screens. We're going to stay live, but if you can turn off your screens, it is by my watch 7:33. So we're going to come back at 7:38. Okay. Any objection to that?
Nope.
All right. Thank you. See you in 5 minutes or less.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna wait for John to pop on.
No worries. I might have to mute myself. There's
I'm here, by the way.
Here's John. I'm sorry, what'd you say, John? Are you gonna mute yourself?
I'm going to mute only because there's a deer in the yard and the dogs are going crazy.
Don't tell my husband, there won't be a deer in the yard anymore. Okay. Are we ready? So we're back from the break. Next order of business is minutes of 5/2/2022. Allison, I did not see them in our packet. When I clicked on the minutes, the agenda popped up.
Okay. Do you want to
So-
move into the next meeting? I don't know how that happened.
That's okay. We'll put that over to the next meeting. New business. This is actually business that was continued from our last meeting. The board will vote on procedures and requirements for accepting applications for the new liquor license awarded to the city. So at our last meeting, as you know, we had a public hearing and heard from some members in the community about the type of criteria they suggest we consider to distribute this license that is available. And just to be clear for the record, that this is a license that was just provided to the city of Gloucester because we had an increase in population, so it is now in our quota. And I believe it was in October that the ABCC notified that this license could be available, as opposed to having to surrender it if we had too many licenses out there, which it appears we don't. So I confirmed with the ABCC that we can release this license, and we are in the process of developing a procedure. And tonight, I'd like to focus on criteria. Does anyone want to start the conversation about what they heard from some of the members that spoke to us? Or do we just want to reflect on the notes that we took, knowing we heard, I think, from 6 different people? Yeah, I think
I think we can just talk about it. I mean, I think we all captured, what was important to the public hearing, especially from our business owners that are currently out there. So I say we just move forward knowing that we'll probably incorporate, their voice in it.
Okay. So as I said, we heard from approximately 6 people. One was the former member of this board, which was Meredith Fine, who graciously spoke about her experience when they distributed a license, which I believe was back in May of 2017, coincidentally the same month. And then we heard from some current alcohol license owners, some being year-round licensees and some being either seasonal or former seasonal owners of licenses. And we also heard from another member of the previous licensing board who spoke as well. So it seemed that the majority of the conversation was geared to allowing a seasonal licensee the opportunity, small business, someone that's already established. We did hear from one community member that I thought was an interesting perspective to state that if we are getting an extra license because we have an increase in population, that could or should translate to having a new business open up to address that increase in population. So it appears we have a little bit of conflict in the message. And I'm just wondering how this board wants to approach the criteria requirements. You've had some time to think. I know this isn't a common practice to have to come up with this kind of stuff. You would think that the ABCC would send out some guidelines when you have an available license, this is what you do. But we can rely on the good work of the previous board. And I did send you some case law and legal briefs from that time, which from my quick review is still current. as far as the case law hasn't been overturned for the, that was relied on in those opinions. Although those attorneys don't work for the city anymore, they can still be considered a legal opinion that we could rely on. So I'm curious to know your thoughts on how you want to approach the issue of criteria. What's important to each one of you, and I can start off if that helps, to see what type of criteria we'd want in the applicant.
I'm sure I'm an Excel guy, so I thought it would be important that we did a kind of a weighted average where we could, when we identify, the criteria, we put a certain number to it. And if you're a seasonal license holder, you get X rate, score that goes in your favor, and so on and so on, or new business, so on and so on. So I'd have to do a little bit of research on how to create that spreadsheet because I haven't done it in a while. But as we kind of go through, it might be a good opportunity for us to kind of see the numbers and how things kind of get weighted out.
John, Orlando, did you want to comment before I do?
You're muted. You're muted.
John, you're muted. He's laughing. He's not unmuting.
All right, I'm unmuted. That's why John jumped in before me. I was speaking before him. So tonight you want us to tell you, to tell the public, I'm sure there's still people on, what we want, what the application is going to look like?
No, so, well, kind of. So, a couple things. So we haven't fully developed the process, right? Right now, we are trying to focus, because I'm trying to do this in pieces, and we hope we might get through some of it tonight, might get through all of it tonight. I'm not sure. It depends on the conversation here. And just as you know, we do all our business in public, so I know we don't sound like we're all in sync right now, and that's because we don't talk about this when we're not in public. So here we are tonight, the three of us trying to figure this out before the public, with the realization that we haven't spoken to each other, and this is the first time we've talked about it. So I thought we'd start off by trying to develop what sort of criteria that we'd be looking for. Like, for instance, do we want it to be a seasonal owner only, or are we open to all applicants? Is there a priority for location? Is there a priority for experience in the business? Is there should a current license holder, which would probably be a seasonal or maybe even a year-round owner as well, have the opportunity to get this license before, say, someone from out of town that doesn't live here as a resident? Do we want to focus on this being instead of like a big business coming in, like a chain, and have it continue with the culture of Gloucester where it wouldn't be a chain restaurant, things like that. Like what type of restaurant, what type of owner, what type of business do we want to see this license go to?
So
This opportunity doesn't come very often, even though we've done this before. It doesn't happen very often, and it could happen again very shortly, depending on what happens with some of our other licenses. So this is a unique opportunity to award a liquor license that has a substantial financial ownership. This is a good asset to own, and we're giving it away. The only expense that comes with this license is paying the annual fee, which I believe is like $2,300 a year. But we know licenses are selling anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 on the market. And this license, there will be no cost for that license, only the annual license.
So that's part of my notes.
Mm-hmm.
So does it have to remain that way going forward? Do
Yes.
new licenses have to also be given out in the same way that the old ones did?
Yes. Unless we do a home rule petition and get extra licenses, that is where the city can get creative in how they're distributed, where they're distributed. But this type of license that is available is like, it's like a new license to be distributed accordingly.
So we cannot put a restriction. If someone opens a business today and stays in business for 5 months, closes and sells it for $130,000, that just doesn't seem right. So I think we have to be extremely careful of how the application is framed. I would like to see anybody who already has a seasonal license here in Gloucester be able to apply. I'd like to see somebody who has a seasonal license and has been in business for a quite a bit of length of time, maybe 5 years or more, be able to apply. I'd like to see any of those seasonal license holders who have stayed open 12 months of the year, even knowing they couldn't sell alcohol for 3 of those months, and contributing meals tax to the city of Gloucester and a service to the city of Gloucester while they're not able to sell liquor. That's my criteria, and I think it makes me feel better about issuing a $2,300 license to somebody. At least you know they have a history and that they're trying to actually advance themselves rather than make a quick buck. That's pretty much what I have.
Thank you.
And I'm basically on the same page, years in business, open year round versus, shutting down if you're a seasonal license holder. I think annual revenue might be an item we want to look at.
Yeah.
And that way we can kind of gain what the city gains from it. Public need should be considered, as we always do with any type of new license coming into play into here.
So John, I just want to comment to that real quick, just so that you know, the requirement for us to distribute a license includes to serve the public need in a manner as such to protect the common good, and to that end to provide, in the opinion of the licensing board, adequate number of places which the public may obtain alcohol. So that is our legal drive to distribute this. And that has to be the basis for our decision. So there has to be a public need for the common good. Those are our parameters.
And then again, then I could think we can create a weighted spreadsheet to kind of give us an idea of, what everything looks like at the end of the day. And we have to publicize this, do we have to notify all the current business owners? Do we put in the paper for X amount of time? I was unclear on that.
So we haven't got to the procedure part yet. I'm just trying to focus on the criteria, because it really is separate pieces to this puzzle. So I was hoping tonight we could at least get through the criteria. I don't know that we're going to finish everything tonight. I think it's going to be helpful that if we finalize this at our next meeting, which is June 14th, and I'll explain that in a little bit why I feel that way. But more or less because of the timeline and the legal requirements from applications and meetings that have to be held. There's a lot of scheduling involved in this as well. And as I stated earlier, we have vacations and holidays and all types of things coming up. And I want to make sure that once we start this process and start accepting applications, that we can follow through and meet all the legal guidelines. So I don't see us approving anything tonight and accepting applications tomorrow. I think it's going to be in June, and that we'll be distributing this license in July, but we can talk more about that in a little bit. I'm really trying to just, if we can as a board, nail down the criteria so that I can work with Allison offline and get things advertised and letters written and distributed so that it gives applicants an idea of what our expectations are to award this license. So John Lamorin, I'm hearing from you this pretty much the same from John Orlando. You're looking for years in business, annual revenue could trigger some sort of weight if we choose that process. Is there anything else?
Year round, so if they're open year round versus if they close during the seasonal, they're when they don't have the license. So very similar to John too. So yeah, experience in the business I think is important. And then I think going back to what John said, you know, time to use the license. So if we issue them a license, say in July, you know, you have X amount of days to, you know, use the license. And again, I don't know what law, you know, what the law has in place, the regulation is to that. Can we make that a requirement of obtaining the license that you have to use it within X amount of time?
I think we can give, well, this is what that's what we're developing now, right? So if someone came forward and said, okay, I'd like this license, but I can't open for 3 years because of building, and this is, even though I have a plan, the shipping issues of getting things delivered to build out buildings and equipment and stuff like that, we know is not as quick as it used to be. So developing businesses is taking a little bit of time. Is this board willing to wait a year or two, or even up to a year, whatever the time may be? Or is our criteria going to be that this license is used pretty immediately?
So is there a requirement by the state on how long we have to hold on to it before we issue it, or no?
So based on current license holders in the city, my guess is there's no timeline for someone to hold on to a license and not use it. I know we try to enforce that. Where we go with that, I don't know.
Yeah,
So I don't think, no, we just have to distribute it. So in other words, there has to be an application process and we have to approve somebody. And once we approve it, as you know, the ABCC does their own investigation to make sure that that person is qualified. So I don't know that there's a time period, but I would say that if we are going to accept applications for a new business, which I'm going to encourage that we do as well, but I'm only one of 3 members. I'm hearing what you were both saying. There would have to be some sort of business plan in place at the application process. You know, we're not just going to say, okay, go find a building and let us know how that works. You know, there would have to be a plan in place with good intentions behind that, I would suggest. So on that topic, let me ask both of you, because both of you are saying the same thing as far as the seasonal. Are you saying that you do not want to accept applicants, that our criteria is seasonal holders only?
No, I'm open to new business.
Okay.
Again, you know, it might get a different weight, you know,
Exactly.
than
Yep.
you know, than a seasonal.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think as we go through applications, we're going to know whether or not the priorities that I outlined and the priorities that John and yourself outlined, we may not get applicants with those criteria. So of course, we would be looking for new business as well. But I want this license, personally, I would like to see this license help somebody who's gone through COVID. And if they feel they need to be open 12 months of the year and they can be only open 9 presently, then I would like to see that person get the extra time. That's where I'm coming from.
Right.
And the COVID could happen again.
It's still happening.
COVID has not left,
Right.
and there'll be residual effects for a
So I'm
long
not against new businesses obtaining a license. I'm not so sure, however, that a new business needs to obtain this license. If a license becomes available from another restaurant or bar, I think that, and they are selling it, I think that they should be encouraged to take one of those licenses if it's a new business, and include that in their cost of opening a new business.
Mhm.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
So your priority, you have it as a priority, but you're not eliminating the ability to have a new license applied.
Exactly.
Mhm. And John, anything else you want to add?
Nothing I can think of. I think we captured the concerns and the public hearing that we had from the other business owners. That we captured everything that they were asking us to consider.
Mhm. So things that I'm thinking of, in addition to what's been said already, I'm thinking of location. I think location is important. I think for a business to be successful, location is important for access. It's also important for a business to thrive. In other words, if a business is in the middle of a neighborhood and can't stay open long hours or later hours or early hours or whatever the business may be. To me, it's important that we get a lot of capacity from this license as far as being available to the public. To me, that is a priority. Doesn't necessarily have to be a big business versus a small business, but I just want to see this license have some sort of impact. And you can get that from a seasonal turning into a year-round license. But I just don't want to close the door on an opportunity that could come, if there is one, for a new business to open in the city of Gloucester as well. Like you said, John, if we can decide on the waiting, as far, not the waiting time, the weight that we give to each of the criteria. I understand that, but it's really important to me that we leave the door open for new businesses as well, so that we can see what opportunities are coming to Gloucester, and that can become part of our conversation going forward. If other licenses become available, we know who's interested in things like that. So I think there's a lot to learn from this process in general, besides just distributing a license. I like the idea of giving someone an opportunity that may not have the opportunity to purchase a license. Like I said, they're very expensive. And I would give priority to, or I would want the criteria to be able to provide weight for someone who probably or likely cannot afford to buy a license at 100 to 150,000, but yet has been committed to the city and community for the years past. I would want that business owner to have a good reputation in this community, to be financially responsible, to be in good standing financially, and also with the activities within their current establishment, if they have one. You know, though that I'm looking at the person, not just necessarily the business, because that's what Gloucester does. You know, we like community-driven businesses. And I hope that this license can go to someone that who loves Gloucester as much as we do, and wants to make an impact on our tourist industry, but also to the residents, because as we know, it's difficult to get into an establishment in the summer with all the tourists here, and we wait for the winter months to go to the Tonos and the hotels to get a seat instead of having to wait on a wait list. So those are the types of things that are important to me. I'm hoping that this person that comes forward doesn't have any previous violations, either here in Gloucester or in other cities if they have other businesses there. And like I said, that goes to the good standing. But as much as I am compelled to say I hope to see a seasonal holder apply, I am not willing to shut the door to something new, and hope that we can keep that as part of the criteria. Any other comments? No.
None that I can think of.
Yeah,
You know,
like I said, we're doing this for the first time. So for the public, if anybody's watching, I don't even know who's watching because I don't have the names up. This is new to us. It's not easy, and this is the first time we're really talking about it. So it sounds a little awkward, but we're just thinking if we're not talking.
Yeah, and I think if we see it on, I think once we see it on paper too, you know, and what those criteria are,
We
it
can
might
see what makes sense.
right, makes sense, and then we might add more as we go through the process. I don't think we're there yet. I think that come, you know, the June licensing board meeting will most likely, you know, I think we will have everything in place. At least our thoughts will be on paper, and we have enough time to kind of review that before that June meeting. So I think we're pretty much there, but I don't think we're there just yet.
So,
Okay.
so what would help would be if what we've discussed tonight would be put in the minutes so that we could read them and you know, kind of have a list of what we've already talked about so that we can independently go over and see, you know, how we can tweak it. With the open meeting laws, we can't verbally discuss it, but anything that has been said tonight is being written down or recorded. So it would be a lot easier to have your thoughts John's thoughts and my thoughts all together.
So let me say this, because time is really important here, right?
Right.
And time and lack of resources and lack of meetings is
Right.
really driving this process. So John Orlando, to your comment about minutes, I can't guarantee you that there's going to be minutes of this meeting done before June 12th, is it? June
14th, I think.
right? But we are on Zoom. We can watch this over and over.
Yeah,
I know I
sure.
took some notes. I'll pull something
I've-
together as far as suggested criteria, and I can email something tonight, or not, I won't email it tonight, but I can put something together from what I think we're establishing as criteria. We have other topics to discuss as well. I agree that this is not going to be announced tonight. June 14th, though, I would want to say I don't want it to be any later than that date. The clock really needs to start ticking at our next meeting as far as advertising, accepting applications, scheduling meetings to review the applicants, having the public hearing for all the applicants. We really need to nail that down and provide this information to the public by the end of our meeting on June 14th, and then hopefully advertise on June 15th or 16th, or as soon as Allison can get it in the paper. So this has to come together quickly. So
Right.
I know I sound like I'm all over the place right now, but that's because we don't really have it's
The tight
structured
window.
yet, and that's what we're
Yeah,
doing
it's-
now.
It's a tight window.
So criteria is good. So let's talk about advertising. What I'm hoping is that we will send a letter to all license holders when we advertise, that the advertising includes sending letters to all licensees, whether they're year-round or not, just to get the word out there.
Mhm.
And I believe that they should have firsthand knowledge of the advertisement, even maybe before it gets in the paper, because it's probably going to take a couple days to get in the paper. But I was thinking just a letter, and then in the Gloucester Daily Times. Do you feel there's a need to advertise this outside of the Gloucester Daily Times?
I guess
Well,
where would that be? Would
I
that
don't
be a North Shore? Would it
North
be-
Shore, yeah, the
Boston?
Boston Globe.
Right.
Let me give you my opinion on
It
that as you're
depends
thinking.
if you're looking for new businesses, you would have to.
So this is how I see it, right? So we're Gloucester, we're at the end of the world on this beautiful island, and everyone in Gloucester knows each other business. So the chatter around Gloucester people will know. To me, people who are interested in bringing their business to Gloucester should be looking at what our licensing board is doing, and they do, because Allison gets phone calls all the time. People, that I think there's an industry out there where people just call licensing boards every day to find out if there's any licenses available, because there's businesses that want to start up and not enough liquor licenses to make that happen. I don't know that we really need to reach out that far, because I would put it on the establishment that wants to come to Gloucester to know what's going on in Gloucester,
Mhm.
right?
Okay,
'Cause
I agree with that.
that's what we do. We're not advertising to get it sounds like we're not advertising to get some sort of big restaurant chain here. It sounds more like a Gloucester cultured local type business. But that's just my thoughts. I mean, I just don't see the need to go that far. I
No.
think Gloucester advertisements, the Daily Times are advertised in other newspapers because just of who they are, what their network is.
Well, plus, we have very little real estate, so a lot of it is already owned by someone else has a tenant that's looking to rent. And if that's a restaurant tenant, then that landlord should put him in touch with the licensing board or the city of Gloucester.
Right.
So I think that it kind of serves itself.
I think if we we'll put the notice up on our website, right? Whatever we advertise, we can put that notice on our website, the Gloucester Daily Times, and a letter to licensees.
Mhm.
Do we see that as enough advertising? John Lamorine, you look hesitant.
Well, I'm just wondering, what is the reach of the Gloucester Times? Should we do something North Shore? So, to be fair.
Well, how many newspapers are affiliated with the Gloucester, Salem, Beverly,
I don't know.
Newburyport? It would be north of Boston, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, then-
Allison, have we ever advertised outside of Gloucester? To your knowledge?
I'm not sure. I mean, they are all affiliated with the Gloucester Daily Times. I don't think our ads are put in the other papers. I think they are all kept somewhat separate. At
Okay.
least the other ads that I normally do.
Yeah, because we don't see legal notices of other cities in our
No,
Gloucester Times.
yeah, so I think they're still kept separately.
Okay, we can look at, Allison and I can look into that and report back at our next meeting, because we'll make that decision on June 14th as well. Because we'll develop an advertisement and then Allison will know where to send it off to and how, who to get it off to. So we'll look into that to find out more information, what the cost is and what the, what other opportunities are available for advertising. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Now I have a fox in the yard, so.
Gray fox or a red fox?
Red fox.
We had a gray one not too long ago. So we have advertising, we have come up with some criteria, the process. So each applicant, when they apply, will go to the state website and fill out an application. We're going to determine the date when we're going to start accepting applications. We're not accepting any now, but probably shortly after June 14th. They will go to the state website, print off the proper paperwork that the state provides, and pay the $200 application fee. Once that is done, completed, and I can't say that word and strongly enough, completed applications will be provided to Allison for consideration. We have 30 days from each application to entertain that application. So say if we get an application on June 17th, we have to hear that application and vote on it before July 17th. So when I'm speaking times, I'm thinking if we advertise and accept, say, starting June 15th, our July 12th meeting falls within that 30 days, and we can probably address most of the applications on that time period.
What if you get an application outside of that time period? When are you going to close the application period, make it a short
Yes,
window?
yeah, because we
Okay.
have, not only do we have a time for receiving applications, but there has to be enough time to post public hearings in the newspaper, because every single application will have to have a public hearing.
Mhm.
So say for the June, and these are the things we have to figure out. So say we're gonna have a meeting on June 14th, and we advertise that week. To be on the July 12th meeting, advertisements need to be in the paper for public hearing on July 1st. Does that sound right, Allison?
So 10 days before the meeting, yes.
Yeah. So we would probably only accept applications from, say, June 15th, if we do it immediately, which I'm hoping that we do, through, say, June 27th. So there's going to be a short window of time to accept applications.
So are we going to be listening? So say we have one application in on the 15th,
Yep.
and then on the 16th another, and on the 18th another, and on the 19th another. Are we having a separate hearing for each one of those 4 different days?
We are having a
Or can
public
we-
hearing. Nope, we're going to have a public hearing for each
But what
applicant.
if,
'cause
what if
people-
on that first, is it gonna come by application date? Or by the criteria?
So we're voting on criteria. We're setting a deadline date to for all applicants to apply. It's not first come, first serve, up or down like they did before. We're gonna set a deadline date and say, and I'm just throwing this out there. So say we say June, I'm gonna throw June 27th out, and I don't know that that's gonna be the date. So all applications will be received by June 27th, which gives them all enough time to advertise public hearing and notify abutters. And then on July 12th, we will have separate public hearings for each one of those applications. People can come speak in favor, some people can speak opposed, and we also have the opportunity to question the applicant.
Oh.
We close the public hearing after each applicant, and then at the end, we discuss distributing the license based on what we heard.
So each applicant will be at a the same public hearing date.
They're
Everyone
required
will be
to.
there.
So
and
John,
we'll
think of
just
this.
take
So
them
when
all
someone,
separately. Okay,
John, when someone files a new application for a license, right? If you look at the requirements,
right,
because this is a new application, sometimes it's
Right.
even a transfer, right? Because a transfer is treated like a new application. They are required to have a public hearing. In other words, the public has the right to come forward and speak in opposition, in favor, or opposed to the applicant. And we take that information into consideration for distribution.
all that I
So-
know. All I'm asking is the public here, when we hold the public hearing,
Yeah.
are all of the applicants going to be at that public hearing
Yes,
so that we can listen to them all at once?
yes.
Okay, that's all I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
confused about.
So,
And to be honest with you, if there is a lot of applications, we may need a second meeting. I mean, I don't know how many we're gonna get, but we'll know by the deadline date, which would likely be around June 27th, I'm guessing
Right.
right now, because we haven't finalized that.
we
We'll
have to go, what,
know,
10 days prior to the hearing, 10 days prior to our board meeting, we have to be able to post those public hearings in the paper?
yes, but also we need a couple days before then to pull everything together as well. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm thinking more like 14 days, right?
Yeah,
So that's why I was saying June, at the end, the last week of June, get the applications in. Allison can start putting together letters to give to each applicant so that they can notify their abutters, get the public hearing posted in the paper in time for our June, what is it, 14th
well,
meeting?
14th, yeah.
So that's why I say the timing of this is a lot. And
Okay.
between vacations and fiestas and 4th of Julys and everything that's going on, I'm trying to manage this and get it out as soon as possible, but also give enough time for notice for people to apply and get all the proper documents for their applications into us. It's gonna come at us with a lot of work for Allison, and I just want to make sure that we can handle that
It's a lot.
in a fair process. Yeah, we're being very open, very transparent, doing the best we can in a public way, very transparent way to get this license distributed quickly. So I'm thinking it'll be distributed in July, but I think we should finalize everything at our next meeting on June 14th. June
Yes.
14th, in July 4th, or June 12th. And that way, so I'm just looking at my calendar. And be ready to go on June 14th. So that'll give almost 2 weeks to accept applications.
Yeah, and you're saying, so if we get 5 applicants, we'll have 5 public hearings that day,
And that can be done.
right? Do we limit their time to speak, like pro
Yep.
or? Okay,
So, and let's just talk about that, because we're gonna talk about numbers, right? Because you're talking about this weighted system, which I like that idea, right? Because that kind of funnels a decision in a way that doesn't identify anybody, right? We're looking at criteria and giving that a number, and then we total the numbers at the end and see if that's where we want to go. You know, you don't have to do the number, you don't have to rely on that, but that gives us good direction.
right.
And each
Gives
of
us an
us can number
understanding.
things different. There's an understanding to it, exactly.
Right.
So those are the numbers that are important. You know, I'd be really disappointed if someone showed up with like 60 people to speak on their behalf, right? Because we're in Gloucester. We know who knows who and who wants what. I mean, there's enough conversation about this going on now. The number isn't about how many people come to speak before us. It's pretty much what they say. So I would suggest if there is a lot of people that want to speak on behalf of an application, and I support that right 100%, that a group of them could get together, and we do this on the school committee, right? Because I've been to enough public hearings where there's a lot of people that agree with what needs to be said. And someone will speak and just say, I'm speaking here tonight and I'm representing 20 people and this is the message we want you to hear. And you give them a little bit more time than 3 minutes. And you know that there's 20 people and they can list the names behind that one person speaking that to support an applicant, right? That way we're not listening to 20 different applicants say the same thing.
Right.
It still has the same weight, it still has the same impact on us. Hearing one person say, I'm speaking on behalf of 20 people is probably better, in my opinion, than hearing 20 people say the same thing, because that gets monotonous and you're like, okay, and you want the testimony on record. You want to hear the opinions of the public, but at the same time, I think there's an organized way to do that. I would maybe on the June date, we talk about a time frame as far as how much time each person will have, like say 15 minutes to speak in favor, 15 minutes total in opposition. And that way it kind of limits each applicant to a half-hour time period for people to speak on their behalf. That's something to think about if we think we need that.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense.
I
I think it's important, for the business that do apply, that we get that message to them that, this is what the ideal situation would be for those that are for or against,
Another thing I'd like us to consider and come back and decide on, we don't have to decide this tonight, is receiving emails, support or opposition.
I was going to ask that.
That we put our email address out there and people can email us if they don't want to speak directly on the Zoom meeting, because this will be a Zoom meeting. Unfortunately, we can't meet in person yet. And that night of the meeting, we don't have to read every single letter into the record, but we can say we received 15 letters in support, 15 letters in opposition, or whatever the case may be, and just enter that into the record as opposed to reading. We'll have already read the testimony. The testimony of those emails will be available to the public if anybody wanted them through a public records request. They're not private, but they don't necessarily have to be read into the record. So that could be another way of communicating.
If I could comment on that?
Absolutely.
What I find works best for zoning board, because I cannot be we have some big businesses and I'll get hundreds and hundreds of letters and I can't be that person. What we ask is that the applicant collect all the letters and submit it by a certain time. So that way they're collecting their own letters and then handing them over to us or emailing them to us as one. Because I can't manage that amount of incoming mail.
One file. What about a petition? Would we allow a petition in place of email?
Yeah, there's a petition that we rejected that came forward already, and only rejected it for the time period, but we'll let it. I didn't look at it. I didn't give it any weight or anything. I know there's something out there and expect more to come from other businesses. But we do have one that was submitted to us that we will enter into the record as part of this conversation and welcome anyone else that'd like to do that. But to Allison's point, so people who speak in opposition don't usually reach out to the person applying to give them a copy of a letter. So I understand your situation, but what I'm going to say is we can put my email address out there as far as to reach out to us, and I can forward them to everyone. And at the same time, print them off and hand them to Allison to keep on the record. I'll actually email her I'll forward it to her as well so that it lands on our server, so that we have an electronic record of it. But I can track that. I've done enough of that in my other boards that I don't have a problem taking on that responsibility, Allison.
Okay. Yeah, in opposition, we take.
Yeah.
More.
So I think we'll have one email address out there that that all the emails will go to, and I'll just distribute them to the board, and at the same time keep a record of it and submit a hard copy to the licensing board clerk, Allison, to keep in the file. I just want to make sure that there's a public record of those emails as well.
Right.
So there's a lot of decisions to be made on this process. I don't know that we're nailing this down tonight. So is there anything else you can think of? And if you don't think of anything but come up with something, we have the next meeting to talk about it. But know that it is my intention with this board to finalize
The criteria.
all of these plans at our next meeting in June and have this license distributed at our July meeting.
If you want, Madam Chair, I can put together I made notes from, what John had said and what you had mentioned in there. We can add it. I can start off the spreadsheet. And that way it's a good starting point for us to kind of make sure we have all of our criterias documented, and then we can discuss weighted average, which, as we get ready for the 14th meeting, the July 12th meeting. I mean, June 12th, geez.
It's June
Big
12th
J's.
and July 14th.
Yeah.
Those are the meeting dates that are our regular meetings. I also think it's important to have things finalized at our next regular meeting, because a lot of people might not be aware of this meeting tonight, because we do have so many special meetings that I think people aren't aware of everything that's going on, because it's not that second Tuesday of the month. So I'm trying to keep on track with our finalization and then decision-making on those second Tuesdays of the month, so that people are aware of those meetings naturally, knowing that that's our regular meeting.
Makes sense.
Yep. Nope, I would agree.
Are there any other questions?
No, I think we have a good
So-
start.
As you know, all this work has to be done here with us in person. I know Meredith Fine brought up at last meeting, based on her experience, that lobbying happens. We probably will be approached to be spoken to by members of the community, and that's okay. That's what lobbying is. But just be sure that if you do engage in any of those conversations, you're not violating open meeting law, meaning you're not speaking to me, to John about something. And in other words, if someone comes to John and then Lamoran, and then he reaches out to me, that can be serial communication, which is a violation of open meeting law, and we don't want that. So if someone comes to you and approaches you, that's your conversation. Just don't be sure not to share it with other members, meaning us here, unless you do it in this board publicly. Because I really, really want to make sure that this is a very secure, transparent process, and that there's not any questions to how we came to our decision, other than what is being said by us as a group here before the public. That's what's most important to me.
That is a good point, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of public here tonight to hear what you just said.
Right.
So anyone I talk to, not necessarily about this, but about any meetings that we've had, I always say to them, there's only 3 people on the licensing board, 2 makes a quorum, so we don't talk to
Right.
each other about something that's on an agenda or a future agenda, unless it's already been aired in public. And we haven't even done that since I've been on this board. So,
Right.
but I think the public needs to hear that
Mhm.
over and over again, because they don't have that impression.
Yeah, well,
You know?
people can watch the Zoom meeting if they're interested and hear me, and I'll bring it up again at the next meeting. I mean,
Yeah.
I should
I would keep
bring it up at
bringing
every
up.
meeting. When I
Yeah.
was on other boards, I used to say it all the time, serial communication. It's one of those tricky situations that
Right.
is a violation of open meeting law, because there's 3 of us. It doesn't even matter if there's 5 of us on the school committee. I go through the same thing. If I say something to another member and then that gets passed on, that's serial communication, which is a
True.
violation. So
True.
you can talk to other people. I'm not telling you can't. This isn't an executive session matter.
Right.
People are going to approach you. You have every right to have those conversations. You just can only speak on behalf of yourself.
exactly.
You know, you can't say me and Melissa might think that way, or John, and you know what I mean? You can only, they're talking to you and you only. And
Right.
any response you have is from you.
Right.
You are required to come to this board meeting with an open mind, and your decision's not made until you've heard all the testimony that's going to be presented at the public hearings. That's what the public hearing is about. So please keep open-minded until the end of that meeting to
Right.
see where we get. I love this idea John Lammerin brought up with the weighted process, because that in itself
I
is a
like that too,
conversation
yeah.
manner, and will be helpful in our discussion, hopefully.
Yeah, and I mean, I can share that if you wanted to at the public meeting to show where, I don't know if we can or not.
So there's certain work stuff that can get done between the boards without being in the public. So like if
Okay.
you developed some sort of document, Excel document, and have the experience of doing weighted type of work and want to present that to us, circulate it to us, you're welcome to do that. We just don't comment on it. You know what I mean? We'll say, okay, thank you very much. And then we bring it and show it to the public. You can share your document with the public at our next meeting. They can see it, and we can make, John, Orlando and I can comment on it. If we want to make changes, we do. So don't feel like we can't do anything offline here. You can send out information. It's that conversation back, that response that has to be in public.
Yeah.
And if you do get emails, I'm going to ask if things do start popping up early, please just share them. You know, John Lammerin, if you get an email from someone, just let us know, you know, share it with us so that we all have the same information.
Share the email or share
Yep.
that you got the email?
Share the email,
Okay.
you know,
That's a
because
good
some
idea.
people feel comfortable with one member more so than another, and that's okay. But for the sake of transparency and all of us being on the same page and having the information, I know if I get an email, I'm going to share it with both of you. I don't want a response. Here you go. I got this email.
Okay.
Just FYI only.
Right.
That way we all come to a decision with full knowledge, because I think that's important as well.
Yeah.
I'm more about process, not necessarily who the person in the end is going to be, but how we get there is
Right.
extremely important to me.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm really good.
I'm good.
Let me just look through my notes real quick, because I was taking notes and I want to make sure that deadline, hearing dates, deadline 2 minutes prior, we talked about that. I think we're pretty good. Are you both comfortable with the document that was shared from, I think it was Chip Payson that developed it back in 2017 with our legal standing and the case law of that gives us the authority to pick and choose what our criteria is? Not, I mean, to be able to set our own criteria and adhere to that.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Because if there's any legal questions you have, now would be the time to let me know, and you can let me know offline. You can send me an email and I can forward it to whoever the new city solicitor is. So if you have any legal concerns before the 14th, please let me know, so we can get those answers.
Yeah, the only legal one I had was whether or not this license can be turned back in after business goes out of business. And you
Once we
already answered that.
once we distribute this license, it's an asset and the holder owns that asset. So this, like I said, this is a great
And
opportunity.
that
for
makes
someone.
a huge difference on how we select the person who gets this.
Well, that's why part of our criteria is, you know, how long they've established themselves in the community. If it's somebody that's already established, you know, what their intentions are and how they've run the business that they have.
Right.
You know, and what type of business does that business do? You know, we can ask for financials if that's important. I don't know that we need to go that far, but if someone's established, I mean, Gloucester's small enough that we know who's who, and I think we've all been to all the establishments here. It's not like there's any
Some
hidden
more than
gems
others.
anywhere. Yeah. But it would be nice to hear from others that may not be the some that we went to, you know what I mean? Because this is a great opportunity. So.
Yep.
Anything
Good.
else?
I'm good. I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
I'm only
second that
kidding.
one. No, we're good. I don't think we have anything else on the agenda, right?
Then I'll make the motion to adjourn.
You just did, Madam Chair, second.
Second.
Oh, I didn't hear a
We need
second.
roll call.
Oh, I did quicker than you did the motion.
You said it so quick, I didn't. That's
right.
awesome.
I just want to
Allison?
say to you both, before we even adjourn, I just want to say thank you all. Allison, she knows we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah.
Both of you, this is not easy. It's exciting, but at the same time, it's like, there's work to be done here.
Yep.
And it's gonna be a lot of good conversation coming forward at us, so.
Very good.
All right, Allison, roll call vote?
Mr. Lammery,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Fritz.
Yes. Night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you all.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Allison.
You're welcome.